The auditorium was filled to the brim. Grandparents, veterans, former professors, caregivers, and curious younger adults all sat shoulder to shoulder, waiting. The large screen above the stage lit up with a bold title, 7 Signs That Predict How Long You'll Live After 70. Scientifically proven. The crowd leaned forward. Then Jordan Peterson walked in, carrying a single notepad. The moderator introduced him as a clinical psychologist, professor, and controversial truth teller. But Peterson waved off the applause, walked directly to the center, and said, "This won't be comfortable, but it could save someone's life." A hush fell over the crowd. "We have this cultural lie," Peterson began, "that after 70, your fate is in the hands of God or genetics, that your health is a coin toss, that your body just breaks down. That's not completely true. Science, over the last 20 years, has revealed otherwise." He turned to the screen behind him. "There are 7 signs, 7 daily signals that, statistically and psychologically, predict whether you'll live another 2 decades or 2 years. The tension in the room was sharp. Sign number 1, you walk faster than you talk. A ripple of laughter moved through the crowd. Peterson smiled faintly, then straightened up. "This one surprises people. But according to a study from the University of Pittsburgh, walking speed is one of the strongest predictors of life expectancy. If your natural gait is slower than 0.8 meters per second, you are statistically at higher risk of early death." He looked at an elderly man in the third row and asked, "How fast do you walk, sir?" The man chuckled, "Slower than my wife would like." "Then walk like you have somewhere to be," Peterson said, "because how you move tells the brain whether life is worth living. And if you shuffle around like you're already halfway in the grave, your body might just follow." The audience was stunned. Sign number 2, you have a reason to wake up. Peterson's tone grew quieter. "This one isn't from the gym, it's from the soul." He explained the concept of ikigai from Japanese culture, the idea that people who live long have a reason to get up every morning. A task, a relationship, a duty, or a dream. There's a town in Okinawa, Japan, with one of the highest concentrations of people over 100 years old. And when researchers asked why, one elderly man simply said, "I plant carrots so my grandson has fresh food for school. That's it." Peterson gestured to the room. "If you don't have a reason to get out of bed, your body takes the hint. It slows. It stops healing. It prepares to shut down." He looked around. "So ask yourself, tonight, what is pulling me forward?" Sign number 3, you speak to someone daily who isn't paid to talk to you. Now the room was growing quieter, heavier. "There's a terrible reality in the U.S., Peterson said. "Many elderly people only interact with doctors, nurses, or delivery drivers, people who are obligated to talk to them. But what about genuine connection?" He cited a Harvard study that tracked people for over 75 years. Those with deep, consistent social relationships lived longer by an average of 7 years. And they were happier, not wealthier, not healthier, just more connected. A woman in the second row whispered to herself, "I only talk to the mailman." Peterson heard and nodded. "Start somewhere. Anyone, even a neighbor. If you go days without being truly seen, your nervous system deteriorates. Your immune system weakens. You stop living fully." Sign number 4, you still complain, but you still care. No. The mood shifted slightly. People tilted their heads, unsure. "This one's complicated," Peterson admitted. "A lot of older people complain. And yes, some of them are just bitter. But others complain because they still care about how the world works. They still feel connected to the direction of society." He raised a finger. "But those who say nothing, who shrug at injustice, who stop voting, stop advising, stop pushing, they fade fastest." He told a story of his own mother, who once called him in her 70s furious about a new education policy. She was mad. I mean, red hot mad. And I thought, good. She still believes her voice matters. The audience let out a low hum of agreement. Sign number 5, you can still climb a flight of stairs. Here's one that's brutally simple, Peterson said. Your ability to climb a flight of stairs without pausing or gasping is a direct predictor of heart health, lung capacity, and muscle endurance. He referenced a massive study in Spain that found adults over 70 who could climb for flights of stairs in under a minute had far lower mortality rates. I'm not telling you to run marathons, but if you're avoiding stairs entirely, you're avoiding life, he added. Your body is like a dog. If you stop walking it, it misbehaves. Laughter broke through, mixed with realization. Sign number 6. You learn something new every month. Peterson's voice dropped to a firm intensity. The death of curiosity is the death of the soul. He explained how elderly brains remain plastic, capable of learning, adapting, and forming new memories. But when people stop learning, neural atrophy begins. I've seen people in their 80s learning French, piano, how to use TikTok. I don't care what it is, but if you can't tell me the last new thing you tried to understand, then you're digging your own mental grave. He looked at a young woman in the crowd. Teach your grandmother something she doesn't know. Not because she needs it, but because her brain does. Sign number 7. You laugh every week at least once. Now Peterson smiled. Though it was a sad smile, there's something most people don't realize. Elder laughter isn't just a response to humor, it's a declaration. I'm still alive. I still find joy. He cited research showing that those who regularly laugh deep, belly shaking, spontaneous laughter have lower blood pressure, reduced inflammation, and better sleep. But beyond that, he said, laughter is the final rebellion against despair. It's how you tell death, not yet. He paused. Find something absurd. Find something ridiculous. Let yourself laugh like you did when you were 12. That's a victory. The room erupted in unexpected applause. Then silence fell again. Peterson stepped back, adjusted his glasses, and said, these 7 signs, they aren't just numbers on a chart. They're warnings. They're guideposts. They're tools. He looked down briefly. Some of you in this room are already in trouble. You don't walk. You don't talk to anyone. You haven't learned anything in months. You haven't laughed since Christmas. A painful stillness settled. But the good news is this. None of these signs are permanent. Every one of them can be reversed. If you decide to fight. He turned to walk away, then paused. The goal isn't just to live long. It's to live well. It's to make 70 feel like the beginning of Act 3, not the closing credits. And with that, Jordan Peterson left the stage, but his words stayed behind, echoing through every living room, hospital, and social media feed in America. The morning after his televised appearance in Chicago, Jordan Peterson's inbox was flooded. Thousands of emails from all over the United States poured in, most from people over the age of 70. Some thanked him, some cursed him, but nearly all of them asked the same thing. What now? So that evening, Peterson sat down in a quiet university auditorium in Boston, this time off camera. No lights, no crowds, just a circle of chairs filled with elderly guests from all walks of life. War veterans, former professors, divorced grandmothers, ex-truckers, a retired police chief. Peterson took a breath and began. What we talked about yesterday, the 7 signs, those are markers. But markers aren't enough. The real battle lies in your daily habits. A woman with silver hair raised her hand. What do you mean by battle? He nodded solemnly. After 70, death isn't your biggest enemy. Decay is mental, emotional, physical, and it doesn't happen all at once. It sneaks up through the small choices you make or avoid every day. He pulled out a worn notepad and flipped to a new page. There are habits scientifically proven that can lengthen or shorten your life after 70, and today, I'm going to share 5 of them. You may not like them, but you need to hear them. He glanced around. Let's begin. Habit number 1. Stop sitting more than 8 hours a day. Peterson spoke slowly now, carefully. The Journal of the American Medical Association published a longitudinal study showing that people over 70 who sit for more than 8 hours a day outside of sleeping have a dramatically increased risk of cardiovascular disease and premature death. A man across the room grunted. What else are we supposed to do? You move, Peterson said. Even a walk around the kitchen every 30 minutes resets your metabolic system. The body expects motion. When you stop moving, it assumes you're preparing to die. He added, every chair is a coffin in slow motion unless you keep getting out of it. The room fell quiet. Habit number 2. Don't eat alone if you can help it this time. Peterson's tone grew tender. One of the clearest indicators of declining life expectancy is social disconnection. During meals, he described how researchers at Columbia University found that seniors who regularly eat meals in silence or alone suffer higher levels of inflammation, lower appetite regulation, and reduced digestive efficiency. It's not just about nutrition, Peterson said. It's about human contact, laughter, conversation, eye contact. They stimulate the brain and improve nutrient absorption. A widower in the front row nodded. Since my wife died, I eat in front of the TV every day. Peterson looked at him kindly. then invite a neighbor, a friend, a niece, or go to the local diner and talk to the waitress. Don't just feed your stomach, feed your spirit. Habit number 3, refuse to sleep irregularly. Sleep isn't a luxury, as 70 Peterson said. It's a weapon. He went on to explain that the aging brain becomes far more vulnerable to sleep deprivation. Poor sleep is linked to dementia, heart disease, diabetes, and emotional decline. Yet millions of older Americans stay up till 2 a.m., then nap all day. He looked around the room. You must defend your circadian rhythm like your life depends on it, because it does. He outlined a simple plan. Wake up at the same time every day. No screens 1 hour before bed. Limit naps to 30 minutes. Train your brain that nighttime is for recovery, not television marathons. Habit number 4. Stop consuming daily negativity. No. The room shifted in energy. Peterson lowered his voice. Many older people spend their days watching 24-hour news cycles filled with violence, outrage, scandal, and despair. He let that sit. You wake up. You sit down. You turn on the screen, and it tells you the world is dying, children are doomed, and nobody cares about you. He shook his head. Do that long enough, and your immune system responds. Studies show prolonged media-induced stress raises cortisol levels, weakens heart resilience, and shortens life expectancy. A retired teacher spoke up. But don't. We need to stay informed. Of course, Peterson replied. But moderation is key. Read headlines. Skim once a day, then replace the cycle of despair with something human: a walk, a call, music, prayer. Don't die because you overdosed on outrage. The group stirred with murmurs of agreement. Habit number 5. Never stop setting micro goals. Peterson now spoke with urgency. This one is a game changer. The brain, especially after 70, needs to believe tomorrow matters, and it only does if you've given it something to look forward to. He referenced a study from Stanford showing that seniors who write down small daily goals as simple as plant the tomatoes, call my daughter, or walk to the corner store live on average 5 to 7 years longer than those who don't. Single quotes T. He pointed to a woman in a purple cardigan. What's one thing you could do tomorrow that you'd enjoy? She hesitated. I could finish that quilt I started. Perfect. He said, that's a reason to breathe. He looked around the room. You don't need a retirement empire. You need a reason to get out of bed that feels real. The air was still. The audience silent. Peterson closed his notepad and stood. You are not dead, he said, so act like it. If you breathe, then you fight. If you speak, then speak boldly. If you walk, walk like it matters. Then he added one more unexpected point. Bonus habit. Don't go where people let you die quietly. No, his tone turned firm. After 70, there are places, literal and metaphorical, that become slow death zones. Retirement homes where no one talks. Churches where no one checks on you. Families who never invite you to dinner. He looked around the room, scanning every eye. If you're in a place where people watch you fade instead of pull you back to life, leave. Find new community. Start again. You're never too old to walk out of your own funeral. The statement hung in the air like smoke. By the time the discussion ended, people were crying. Not out of sadness, but out of recognition. Out of the sudden realization that maybe, just maybe, they weren't at the end of their life. They were at the edge of a choice. In the weeks that followed, results began to ripple across the country. A 72-year-old man in Michigan stopped binge-watching cable news and took up gardening again. A grandmother in Dallas created a Tuesday dinner club for seniors who eat alone. A Korean War vet in Oregon wrote a one-page goal sheet and posted it beside his mirror. The Peterson talk had awakened something buried. On YouTube, the videos trended under #LivePast70 and #Peterson Longevity. A TikTok series emerged called Granny Goals, where women over 75 documented weekly goals and celebrated each one. News anchors debated whether Peterson was offering hope or pressure, but most seniors didn't care. They were too busy living again. And one night, under a quiet sky in Boston, an 84-year-old man picked up a pen and wrote 5 words on a sticky note, then placed it beside his coffee maker. Call my son. Apologize. Begin again. That one goal may have saved his life. And it all began with one truth spoken aloud. You're not too old to fight.